Hey everyone, and welcome to Easy English Talk. We're so glad you're here.
Thanks for joining us. Let's get started with today's topic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Jason, and today we have a very exciting topic: how to speak English like a native at A2 level.
Hi everyone, I'm Julia, and I'm so happy to be here with Jason today. If you're an A2 English learner, this episode is perfect for you. We will give you simple tips and examples to help you speak more naturally and confidently in English.
That's right, Julia. Many learners at this level can understand English pretty well, but speaking naturally can feel tricky. Don't worry, we will break it down step by step.
Exactly. We'll talk about common mistakes learners make, and we'll share some easy tips to sound more like a native speaker. Plus, we'll do a fun mini conversation practice that you can repeat along with us.
Yes, so grab a notebook, maybe a pen, and get ready to learn and speak English naturally. Even if you make mistakes, that's okay. The important thing is to practice every day.
And remember, speaking English like a native doesn't mean using difficult words. It's about simple words, good pronunciation, and confidence.
Perfect. So, let's start our journey today and discover how to speak English more naturally at A2 level. Are you ready, Julia?
Absolutely, let's go.
All right, Julia. Before we start giving tips to speak like a native, let's talk about some common challenges A2 learners face.
Yes, Jason. Many learners at this level understand English quite well, but speaking can still be difficult. For example, one common problem is hesitation. Learners often pause because they are afraid of making mistakes.
Exactly. I see this a lot. People know the words, but they stop and think too much before speaking. And sometimes, this makes them lose confidence.
Another challenge is limited vocabulary. At A2 level, learners often know basic words, but they don't know the words needed for natural conversations. So they might say simple sentences, but it doesn't sound very native.
Right. And one more challenge is pronunciation. Some learners pronounce words correctly in their mind, but when they speak, it sounds different. This can make it harder for others to understand them.
Yes, but don't worry, everyone. These challenges are normal, and today we will show you easy ways to improve. Even small daily practices can help you speak more naturally and confidently.
Exactly. And the best part is, if you know the common mistakes and practice regularly, you will see progress fast.
So don't feel afraid. Remember, speaking English is a skill, and like any skill, it improves with practice.
Great! Now that we know the challenges, let's move to the top tips to speak like a native, Julia. Are you ready?
Absolutely, let's dive in.
All right, Julia. Now it's time for the most exciting part: the tips to help A2 learners sound more like native speakers.
Yes, Jason. Let's start with the first tip. Use everyday expressions. Instead of just saying, I am fine, you can say I'm good or I'm doing well. These small changes make your English sound more natural.
Exactly. And here's a quick, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
See? That's simple, but it sounds very natural.
Tip number 2 is focus on pronunciation. Even small improvements make a big difference. For example, the word water can be pronounced like water instead of water with a strong T.
Yes. And don't worry, you don't need a perfect accent. Just try to speak clearly and slowly, and people will understand you.
Tip 3. Practice simple conversations. You don't need to speak like a native immediately. Start with short dialogues, like ordering food or greeting a friend.
Let's do a quick example together, Julia. Hi, Julia. How was your weekend?
Hi, Jason. It was good. I went to the park. And yours?
It was great. I watched a movie.
See? This is a natural conversation at A2 level. You can practice it every day, even alone.
Tip 4 is listen and repeat. Listen to short English videos, songs, or podcasts, and try to repeat what you hear. Mimic the rhythm and tone, not just the words.
Yes. For example, if someone says, "I'm really tired today," try to copy how they say it naturally with pauses and stress on words.
Exactly. And if you do this daily for a few minutes, your English will start sounding more like a native speaker in a few weeks.
So, to recap our tips, use everyday expressions, focus on pronunciation, practice simple conversations, listen and repeat to learn rhythm and tone.
Perfect, Julia. These are easy, practical steps that any A2 learner can start today.
Yes, Jason, and the best part is they make English fun and natural.
All right, Julia. Now it's time for our mini conversation practice. This is where listeners can repeat with us and practice speaking like a native.
Yes, let's do a simple everyday conversation. Imagine you meet a friend in the morning. Jason, you start.
Hi, Julia. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Jason. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good too. Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well. And you?
I slept well too. Thank you for asking.
Great. Now let's try it together. Slowly, so our listeners can repeat after us. Ready?
Hi, Julia. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Jason. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good too. Did you sleep well?
Yes, I slept very well. And you?
I slept well too. Thank you for asking. Perfect. Listeners, you can practice this conversation daily. The more you repeat, the more natural it will sound.
Yes, and don't worry if you make mistakes. The goal is to speak naturally and feel confident.
Exactly. You can also change the names or words in this conversation and make your own mini dialogues.
For example, instead of talking about sleep, you can ask about weekends, food, or hobbies.
Yes, practice makes perfect. Even short daily conversations will help you sound more like a native speaker over time.
So remember, listeners, speak slowly, repeat often, and have fun.
All right, Julia. Now that we've practiced speaking naturally, let's talk about some common mistakes A2 learners make.
Yes, one very common mistake is overusing very. For example, learners often say, "I am very tired today," all the time.
Exactly. Instead, you can use other words like "I am exhausted today" or "I am really tired." These small changes sound more natural.
Another mistake is wrong word order in questions. For example, learners sometimes say, "You are happy," instead of "Are you happy?"
Yes. Remember, in questions, we change the word order. Are you happy? Or do you like coffee?
A third mistake is not linking words when speaking. Native speakers often connect words naturally, like "I'm gonna go" instead of "I am going to go."
Yes. At A2 level, you don't need to speak perfectly. But linking words and using short expressions makes your English sound much more natural.
And finally, don't fear making mistakes. Many learners stop speaking because they are afraid of errors, but mistakes are part of learning.
Exactly. Speak slowly, practice daily, and remember, the goal is to communicate naturally, not perfectly.
So, avoid overusing simple words. Check your question word order, try to link words naturally, and don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Perfect. If you follow these tips, Your English will start sounding more like a native speaker very soon. Julia, before we finish today, I want to give our listeners a little motivation. Learning to speak English like a native can feel difficult sometimes.
Yes, Jason, but remember, every small step counts. Even 5 to 10 minutes of daily practice will help you improve over time.
Exactly. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They are a normal part of learning. The more you speak, the faster you'll grow.
And always celebrate your progress, no matter how small. Each new word you learn or sentence you speak is a victory.
So keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, you can speak English naturally with time and effort.
Yes, believe in yourself and enjoy the process. Every day you speak English, you get closer to sounding like a native.
All right, Julia, it's time to wrap up today's episode. Let's quickly review what we learned about speaking English like a native at A2 level.
Yes. First, we talked about common challenges learners face: hesitation, limited vocabulary, and pronunciation issues. It's important to understand these challenges so you know what to work on.
Then, we shared our key tips. Remember, use everyday expressions to sound natural. Focus on pronunciation. Practice simple conversations every day. Listen and repeat to mimic rhythm and tone.
Exactly. And we also did a mini conversation practice which you can repeat daily. The more you practice, the more natural your English will sound.
We also talked about common mistakes to avoid, like overusing very incorrect question word order and not linking words naturally. Avoiding these mistakes helps you sound more confident.
Finally, we emphasized motivation and encouragement. Speak slowly, don't fear mistakes, and celebrate every small progress you make.
Yes, Julia. So here's the final advice for our listeners. Practice every day, even a little. Focus on simple words and sentences. Repeat conversations out loud. And most importantly, have fun while speaking English.
Exactly. Remember, speaking like a native isn't about perfection. It's about confidence, consistency, and natural communication.
Perfect. Follow these steps, and over time, you'll see real improvement in your English speaking. All right, Julia, we've shared lots of tips today on how to speak English like a native at A2 level. Now, it's time for our call to action.
Yes. First, listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like this video. It really helps us create more content like this for you.
And make sure to subscribe to our channel, English Learning Podcast, so you never miss a new episode. We post simple, practical lessons every week to help you improve your English naturally.
Also, we want to hear from you. Write a comment below and tell us, which tip did you like the most? Or which mini conversation will you practice today? Your questions and messages help us make better lessons for you.
Exactly. And don't just watch, practice aloud. Repeat the mini conversations, use the tips in your daily life, and soon you'll notice your English sounding more natural.
Finally, if you want to learn even faster, check out our playlist of other A2 level episodes. They have mini conversations, tips, and practice exercises designed to help you speak like a native step by step.
So remember, like, comment, subscribe, and practice daily. Every little step counts, and the more you practice, the closer you get to speaking English naturally.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you in the next episode of English Learning Podcast.
Bye, everyone. Happy learning.